Words perform better than painkillers when it comes to matters of the heart. Welcome to section 18 of chapter 3 of the Holy Quran. Namshi. Uh, Alazina istajabu lillahi wa rasulihi lillahi wa rasuli min bagda ma asabuhum al-karhu. Al-karhu, wounds or sore, let's see. Of those who answered the call of God, istajabu lillahi, answer the call of God and his messenger were rasulin. After being wounded, min bagda ma asabahum al-karhu, after being wounded, min bagda ma asabahum al-karhu. And of course, that's a continuation from the previous sign, which is about the faithful. About the faithful. للذين أحسنوا منهم واتقوا أجر عظيم. Those who do right, ahsanu, those who do right, ahsanu, and refrain from wrong, itaku. So itaku here is interpreted as refraining from wrong. Wa itaku ajruhum azimun, have a great reward, have a great reward. Ajrun azimun, have a great reward. Alazina ahsanu minhum wa itaku ajrun hazim, have a great reward. There is a note to it, and that's note 479. And it's against wounded, al-karho, against wounded. After the confusion at Uhud, men rallied around the Prophet. He was wounded, and they were wounded. Oh my God. War is not easy. But they were all ready to fight again. Abu Sufyan, with his Makkans, withdrew. That's his own uncle. With his Makkans, withdrew, but left a challenge with them to meet him. And his army again at the fair of Badr Sugra next year. Full stop. The challenge was accepted, and a picked band of Muslims under their intrepid leader kept the tryst. Sorry, I'm saying terrorists. Kept the tryst. But the enemy did not come. Let me spell this for you. Interpret, for those of us who may not know. And a picked band of Muslims under their interpret. Interpret is spelled INTR. Please forgive me. INTREPID. Interpret leader. Kept the trysts, but the enemy did not come. They returned, not only unharmed, but enriched by the trade at the fair, and strengthened by the accession of new adherents to their cause. There are brackets there. Let me add the brackets. But enriched by the trade at the fair, and then in brackets, it may be pres- presumed, it may be presumed, that is in brackets, it may be presumed is in brackets, strengthened by assertion of new adherence to their cause. And that was note 479 to sign 172 of section 8 of chapter 3 of the Holy Quran. Let's go to sign 172. Allazina kalu lahum annasu. Inna nasa kat jama'u lakum fa'ishuhum. Those to whom men said, kala lahum annasu, a great army is gathering against you. Jama'u lakum is gathering against you. So fear them, fa'ishuhum. So fear them. But it only is in brackets. Oh no, I didn't read the Arabic side. Okay, let's go to Arabic side. Fazadahum imanan. Fazadahum imanan. But it only increased their faith, imanan. These are the faithful that we are talking about in war, who follow the prophet to fight. They are those. These are some of their qualities. They are those to whom men said, a great army is gathering against you, so fear them. But they rather said, but it only increased their faith. Fazadahum imanan. Fazadahum imanan. But it only increased their faith. The word only is in brackets. Without it, it reads, it only, sorry, without it, it reads, but it increased their faith. So when the cowards say, oh, people are coming, your enemies are coming, and they are great numbers, but the believers' faith, believers, apostrophe, the believers' faith rather increase. Wazadahum imma wakalu hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. A very popular saying in Islam by Muslims. God is sufficient for us. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. For us, God is sorry. For us, God sufficeth. For us, God sufficeth. And He is the best of guardian. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. There's no note to it. So let's go straight to note to sign 174. فإن كلبوا بنعمة من الله. فإن كلبوا بنعمة من الله. And they returned with grace and bounty from God. فإن كلبوا بنعمة الله وفضلا. And fadlan here is a bounty. And grace is nema. They returned with the grace, ni'matullahi, of God, wa fadlan, and bounty. That's Arabic. We take it one after the other. You don't join the two. Grace, ni'matun, fadlan, bounty. They returned with ni'matun, wa fadlan. Lam yamsushum su'un. Lam yamsushum su'un. No harm ever touched them. Touch them, yamsushum, no harm. Su'un, harm. Su'un, harm. No harm ever touched them. Waitabu'u ridwanan lahi. Waitabu'u ridwanan lahi. It's not with nan and lahi. Waitabu'u with ridwana Allah. Waitabu'u ridwanan Allah. Well, of course, if you are reading fast, you could say Waitabu'u ridwanan lahi. But written, it is ridwana Allah. For they followed the good pleasure of God. Ridwan and lie, good pleasure of God. Itabu'u followed Ridwan and lie. Wallahu zul azim. Wallahu zul azim. And God is the Lord of bounties, unbounded. Fadlan, bounties. Azim, unbounded. And so Azim here is interpreted as unbounded, mm, by our great honorable interpreters, grandparents, who, who had the wisdom of God, who were given the wisdom of God to do the interpretation. No note to that either. So we go to sign 174. إنما ذلكم الشيطان يخوف أولياءه. إنما ذلكم الشيطان يخوف أولياءه. 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 His fortress. أولياءه. It is only the Satan that suggests to you the fear of his fortress. Mm. Uh, فلا تخافوهم وخافوني. So do not fear him, Satan, but fear me, God. This is one of the places that God says, fear me. I noticed them somewhere. I think I've got about 3 or 4 where God says, fear me. Of course, there may be more than that. Mm. But in my notes, I think I have about 3 or 4 where God Himself says, fear me. So when the Creator Himself tells you to fear Him, what do you think? And no other person. What do you think? Of course, like I said, there may be more than 4 or so. Mm. فاتقوني فلا تشوهم واتقوني. Uh, where have I left it? فلا تخافوهم وخافوني. ولا تخافون وخافون. Fear him not. Fear not Satan but me. إن كنتم مؤمنين. إن كنتم مؤمنين. If you are believers. So if you are a believer, fear nobody but God. No sign to that either. Let's go to 176. Let's go to 176. ولا يحزنك الذين يسارعون في الكفر. ولا يحزنك الذين يسارعون في الكفر. Let not those grieve thee who rush headlong into unbelief. في الكفر. Unbelief. يسارعون, rush headlong. يحزنك, grieve you. Let not those grieve thee who rush headlong into unbelief. Remember, this interpretation was done centuries back. Maybe today's interpreters will put things the way they appear in the Quran. Yes, in the Quran, yes. But the English people of those days put it in the way that best suited them. And of course, if you read it well, it still says the Quran itself is contains old Arabic, and old Arabic doesn't mean that that's not the best. That's the best. The wording, the grammar, everything is the best. Says some scholars. Mm. ولا يشاء الذين يسعون في الكفر. إنهم لن يدور الله شيئا. إنهم لن يدوروا الله شيئا. Not the least harm will they do to God. Not the least harm will they do to God. Indeed, if all of us rush into unbelief, if there's no believer in the world, it does nothing to God. Nothing. does it do to God? He's there. And by all means, he will get his believers. It's in this same Quran. The Satan or Satan, either Satan or the Satan, cannot deceive everybody. That is something that has been ordained by God. But God is telling us if everybody believes, rush to unbelief, it will not reduce him a bit. Mm. يريد الله Allah يجعل لهم حظا في الآخرة. God's plan is that He God, will give them no portion in the hereafter. Hazan. And la yaj'al lahum hazan, no portion fil ahirati, in the hereafter. Uh, Walahum azabun azimun. Walahum azabun azimun. Uh, in the hereafter, but a severe punishment, but a severe punishment. Walahum azabun azimun. Okay, let's do 177. I've been warned my device is warning up. Let's try 177. إن الذين اشتروا الكفر بالإيمان لن يضروا الله شيئا. It's a similar saying to the previous. Those who purchase unbelief, ishtaru kufran, unbelief at the price of faith. إن الذين اشتروا الكفر بالإيمان لن يضروا الله شيئا. Not the least harm will they do to God if you decide to follow the unbelievers because of some favor, money or favor. No meaning. We are as mean as anything. Okay. La yadurru Allah shay'an. Not the least will they do to God. Walahum azabun alim. Walahum azabun alimun. Walahum azabun alimun. But they will have a grievous punishment. But they will have a grievous punishment. Lahum azabun alimun. Well, I think we will pause here and continue in our next episode. And that will be sign 178. So when we come back in our next episode, we shall go to sign 178. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Au revoir. May God be with you all.